And good morning, everybody. Welcome to SNSN Tuesday. And it's going to be, this is the beginning of a crazy, crazy time.
Yeah, school.
So, yeah,
School
that's
starts
just
today.
part of it. I mean, school started today.
Yay.
In Griswold. I mean, it started in other towns, already last week, like in other states, like in Florida and Arizona, the really hot states and stuff. But today, pretty much all of Connecticut, my daughter has become a junior in high school. What the hell?
Yeah.
How old? No, your daughter's a junior too?
Junior, yeah.
What the hell?
And we have a senior.
What the hell?
They don't start yet. The senior starts tomorrow. My daughter starts Thursday.
Really? Oh, no. My girl started today. It's my son's, Nicholas. It's his 26th birthday today, so it's crazy.
Woo-hoo. Sounds like you're getting old.
Well, it's funny because Janice and I were talking about that,
Yes, we were.
She said, what'd you say? You're talking about the age is happening, and I said it's already happening.
It's going to happen to you, Mike. I was telling him. So, yeah.
So
my husband and I last year joined the Medicare generation.
Oh no!
So that's exciting. We can flash our little card.
Who's older, you or Eric?
Him by about 4 months.
Oh, okay.
Almost exactly 4 months, as a matter of fact.
And how many years have you and Eric been together now?
40. We've been married 42. We just had our 42nd anniversary last week.
Congratulations!
So now you know the answer. You know the question to the ultimate answer of life, the universe, and everything.
Yeah.
Have you ever read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
No.
Yeah.
Not a reader.
Janice is weird.
Yeah, I'm not a reader.
So
I wish I was, but I'm not.
Is it a TikTok video?
Can I find that on Facebook, the Cliff Notes or something? I don't know.
Anyway, well,
what's the secret?
What's the secret?
Is there a secret?
We knew it. We were both pretty well convinced at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And walked into it and meant what we said when we made the commitment. I think that's it. And so that's on the time at the times when it's really rough, it's the commitment that you fall back on. And you say, well, we'll get through it because we have this promise that we are both bound to keep. So we kept it.
Now they do these things called hall passes.
So you make it sound so simple.
Well, it's never simple because life is never simple.
No.
But it's. I'll tell you, it's nice to have a familiar face.
Yeah.
In those hard times to walk through it with you. So there you go.
Have you heard of the hall pass?
The hall pass.
You know what that is?
In a non.
Look at her.
Do you mean
she's like, oh God, she's been married 42 years. What's Mike doing?
Do you mean in a
Eric's a wonderful man.
He is a wonderful man.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy.
Do you mean in a non-high school setting?
Yeah, in a non-high.
Okay, this is something I am unfamiliar with.
All right,
we're just so out of touch.
So hall pass is basically. God, I would.
Go ahead, Mike. Tell her what a hall pass is.
So you guys are watching TV, and you go, or he's really attractive.
Yeah.
Hall pass.
Oh,
Meaning
okay.
you get a chance. Yeah, if you ever had the opportunity to stray, then it's okay for that one person, like a celebrity hall pass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, if I ever had
I've
a
never
chance,
had a hall pass. I've never even thought about getting a hall pass.
Like, if you ever had a chance with, I don't know, Brad Pitt or whatever, not that would ever happen, for majority of us, but it would be okay. It would be acceptable to do that because,
All right.
Pitt.
All right. So I get the concept,
yeah,
but
it's ridiculous.
Utterly foreign to me.
Yeah.
We got married in 1981.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Do you have a hall pass too?
No.
No. I never even thought I'd even ask for one, and
that's really
anything like that. Let's take a break.
Okay.
Just kidding. Let's cool off, kids. Let's cool off.
Take a break.
No,
Just started.
So anyway, 42 years. That's amazing. So congratulations.
Thank
It
you.
was really, really good. Hey, Rich is in there. He said, good morning. And Mike, you get a hall pass. We're not married, Richard. No, he didn't say that.
I was gonna say something you guys want to tell me.
Okay.
I only like him as a friend. All right, so a lot of things, going on today because no. A lot of things going on today, like I already mentioned, but one of the big things is that we have political season really, I think, starts today.
Does it?
Kinda.
I didn't know.
Baloney. You
Signs
didn't know.
signs have been up for weeks.
Yeah. And it's all starting with the Republican first selectman primary. And we're going to do that tonight. And this is why I asked
Not the
Janice,
primary, the debate.
The debate.
The
Yeah. When is it? The 12th?
Yes.
All right. So September 12th is the actual primary.
Tuesday, September 12th.
And we are going to have a debate between the two Republican candidates. First off, the endorsed candidate from the Republican Town Committee, who's Wayne Malin, and the current first selectman, Dana Bennett, who did not get the endorsement from her party, which that's odd.
It happens.
I can't remember the last time in Griswold that it did happen.
Yeah, I don't know if it's happened in Griswold or the last time it's happened in Griswold, but the reason for the primary, after endorsements, there still is, there's still an opportunity for the incumbent to run. So, and that's what Dana went down that path and obtain the signatures needed.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying
I'm just saying
an
what
anomaly.
I'm just saying what the process, what the process is. So, Dana obtained the signatures that were required.
How
for
many
state
signatures was
It
that?
was, I think, 5% of what the last elections were. So, I think she needed like around 100, something like that, and I believe she got like 120 or 22 or something like that. So, that's what's forced the primary. So that's why you have Wayne that's endorsed, and Dana now with having a primary. That's how that came to be.
Okay.
And only Republicans can vote
Correct.
in the primary. People who are registered Republicans of
And-
record as of the day before.
Correct. Yep. So anyone who's unaffiliated can change their registration to Republican up to the day before and vote in the Republican primary. If you are independent, that's not true. Nope.
And the same is not true if you are a Democrat and wanted to
Right.
switch there's a 90-day waiting period essentially between your application to change party affiliation if you are registered as an independent or as a Democrat.
Yep.
Yes.
So just so people understand that.
There's been a lot of confusion between independent and unaffiliated. A lot of people we're finding don't know the difference. They think they're registered as unaffiliated, but they're registered independent. They didn't understand what the difference was. And we've had to explain to a lot of people that independent is an actual party. Unaffiliated is not a party.
See, I didn't through this whole journey here. I didn't know that independent was actually a
Nor
party.
did I. Yeah.
So
That's why
now
you're
we
not
do.
able to switch. That's why
Right,
it's similar to being a Democrat.
So you can't
in
get a
this
hall
case.
pass
No hall pass.
to
No
jump
hall pass.
parties or
Yeah,
anything
right,
like that.
right.
Oh.
See what it did there?
Yeah.
It was all just a part of the whole grand scheme.
Yeah,
here, kids. So
right.
you know,
You had
Yeah,
this
all
in
planned
mind, too.
out.
yeah, no, what a lie.
So I also saw on the registrar's office website webpage yesterday that there's a primary enrollment session happening today at Town Hall.
Didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
And neither did I.
This is from the town's website and the Registrar of Voters page. A primary enrollment session will be held on Tuesday, August 29th, that is today, from 12 noon till 2 p.m. in the Registrar's office, second floor Town Hall, for the purpose of registration and or enrollment of electors entitled to vote in the September 12th Republican primary.
Okay.
So what this means is that if you aren't registered to vote if you are either unregistered or unaffiliated and you wish to vote in this upcoming primary on September 12th, you could go to town hall between noon and 2 today and get that
Yes.
all ready.
You can also do it online.
Do you have to
Register
go
online?
Do you have to now? From what I could see, to register to vote online, you have to go to the ct.gov,
Mhm.
right? Okay. The link I have here is voterregistration.ct.gov/OLVR,
Yep, that sounds right.
online voter registration.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I didn't know they were having anything today. I didn't see that advertised anywhere. It's good to have.
Yeah.
Just got to get the word out now. I didn't.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see that on there, on the Facebook page or anything.
And the other thing is, in terms of ways to vote, you can show up at the polling place at town hall on the day of the primary, September 12th, Tuesday, anytime from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. The polls are open, and they will have curbside voting available for people who are, have physical issues. And there is also, you can get an absentee ballot at the town clerk's office during their regular hours during the week.
Yep.
And you can fill that absentee ballot out and drop it off in the white official ballot box that's out front of town hall, and you can drop it off at any time. It is a secured box.
Yep. So I just want to say, with the absentee ballots, we're finding that there's a lot of people that are confused about that as well. They're thinking this is early voting, which is something totally different. It's not early voting. Absentee ballots are for those, say they're going to be on vacation on the 12th. They're not going to be here. They're,
in the military,
right? In the military, college, for whatever reason, they're not going to be here, and you still want to vote. That's the purpose of the absentee ballot. You do have to fill out an application to obtain the absentee ballot first.
Yeah.
And then, as Janice said, then you can fill it out, drop it in the box,
and to even
right outside.
And to even obtain the absentee ballot application, you have to present an ID.
Yes, that's my understanding.
So you have to have a photo ID with you.
Yep.
Do you I don't know. I've never worked as a registrar of voters or anything, but are there a lot of people that will show up to this election that aren't eligible to vote, meaning that they are Democrats or Libertarians or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting.
Independents.
I would.
You'd have to talk to the poll workers.
Yeah,
about
I mean,
that.
I would assume that there's probably going to be some that show up not understanding
that you have to
what
kind
the
of
primary
turn them
is.
away. And,
yeah, which is unfortunate, but for a primary, you just invite them back for November 7th, right?
Right, which is the general election where the
is,
actual first selectman will be chosen.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I mean, we're trying to get out there and educate people on the process and the differences between primary and general election and the different parties and all of that. It's been quite interesting and kind of fun getting out there and talking to people and learning more, about all of our residents. But it's just education.
Yeah.
High school civics class.
Victoria says it amazes me how many people that are registered as independents don't even know that it's a party.
No, they have no idea.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a registered independent, but I just thought independent was independent.
Right.
We even went as far as, like, for example, the Democratic Town Committee's endorsed candidate for First Selectman is Tina Falk.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And Tina is, I was calling her an independent because she's not a Democrat. However, she's not. She's unaffiliated. And I didn't even know that was a totally different thing. Yeah. I thought independent equaled unaffiliated.
Right. A lot of people think that, and I can see why. You think independent, you're independent of the parties,
Right.
I definitely see why people think that.
Yeah. Now that your party status determines whether you're eligible to vote in a particular primary. Now, it's not the case in this race right now, but if you were a registered Democrat and there were two people who wanted to be the Democratic candidate for First Selectman, you would have to be a Democrat to vote in that primary,
Mhm.
but there typically isn't a lot of fighting going on to be the independent candidate.
Not
mean,
not here, not that I
here,
know in
and not
recent
usually.
history.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
mean-
more like grand
Yeah,
scale,
probably more
down,
national,
like
federal
national
level.
or state level even.
Yeah.
Could have.
Small town politics.
Wasn't Lowell Weicker an independent?
Jeez,
the governor
I don't, I don't
years
I
remember.
thought he
ago?
was
Yeah.
a Republican, actually.
I'd have to go. I'd have to Google.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
let's do that. Let's,
that was a
let's
long
do
time
that.
ago.
Oh, Laker.
That was
that
that
name
was
in a while.
that was my husband was a state employee, so I remember very clearly the names of the governors, but not necessarily their party affiliation. All those.
I think he was a Republican at one time. Then he switched when he ran for governor. But
That
I'm
might
gonna
be it. Yeah.
I'm going to look right now, and
Google.
he just passed away.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
Connecticut Party,
Okay.
a Connecticut Party.
A Connecticut.
Then
Party.
it says Independent Politician / Republican Party. So what?
So he played both sides of that fence.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he identified he was a Republican, but he identified as an A Connecticut Party.
Connecticut Party. I remember that
Interesting.
now. Yeah.
So Weicker was an American politician who served a U.S. rep, senator, blah blah blah. Okay, doesn't really say here.
Interestingly, the thing I remember him most clearly for was he kind of dropped the maintenance on a lot of the state parks, and that was the point where Harkness State Park began a long, slow decline, and it wasn't until a group of local people gathered together and as the Friends of Harkness and brought that place back up to stuff. We were just down there a couple of weeks ago. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And
love
that's
Harkness.
one of the real treasures of the state.
So he was a Republican before 1990. Then he became a member of the A Connecticut Party, which is it even a thing anymore?
I don't know. Good question. Well, we'll have to look in the next.
He was there for
state.
5 years, and then he flipped off to wait a minute, that didn't sound right. He flipped into he flipped off as an independent.
Yeah.
So the Connecticut Party was actually formed by Lowell Weicker in 1990.
Yeah.
It
I wonder if
dissolved in
that-
1998, so it is not a thing
Yeah.
anymore.
So it may have been his
Social liberalism.
social liber- so that may have been his workaround if he didn't get the Republican nomination, which may very
Sure.
well have been what happened. So there you go.
So so there's the little, I guess, education on the parties. I've learned so much, about political parties and who can do what, and who can run. And
Right.
I always thought, here's something I just learned recently too, was that I thought that you could just go ahead and run, or you could just go ahead and vote. You could switch parties. I didn't know there was a like a 90-day cooling period
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
anything like that.
And when you think about
No
it,
idea.
it makes perfect sense because otherwise there are people who would flip flop back and forth just for the sake of influencing a party that is not their own.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that makes perfect sense.
Melissa says Joe Lieberman is a registered independent. See, I thought he was a Democrat.
Huh.
So
Well, there
Interesting.
you go. Yeah.
Rich. When we say Mike and a Wassilick, he's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of Wassilicks, I'm telling you. They're like
Not-
Oompa Loompas.
Not really.
Independent Party pushed hard years ago for a presidential nominee. That would have been Perot.
Oh,
Ah, my.
H. Ross Perot.
Yeah.
jeez. Wow.
Fun fact:
That was a little while ago.
Canterbury was one of the towns, maybe the only town in Connecticut that went for Ross Perot when he ran for president.
Really?
Yeah, overwhelmingly.
Hmm.
I was covering Canterbury at the time.
I was in Florida one
Interesting.
time. We were at an improv club
Yeah,
at Disney,
yeah.
and they were doing a thing on Ross Perot, and they said, H. Ross Perot, what does the H stand for? And I just sat there and yelled, I went, hell if I know. And the guy looks at me and goes,
You want to come up here and take over?
no. It was just, I had a couple of scotches, and I'm thinking, hell if I know. I still don't know what it means. I
There
don't
you
know.
go.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. You've mentioned before that, we could potentially find ourselves with a board of selectmen that includes a Democrat, a Republican, and an unaffiliated.
Or yeah.
I think
I said independent a million times,
Yeah.
not knowing,
Yeah.
the right verbiage.
I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, I don't know what the chances of that happening, but there is a chance, and it's
Yeah.
kind of cool to think about.
I think it's really cool. And the reason why, and we haven't seen that in a long time. Usually it's Grizzle's very, very much, even though people sit close to that aisle,
Mhm.
they're loyal to their party.
Mm.
For the most part, they are. All right. Republicans will stay with the Republicans.
Mhm.
Even, the Democrats will stay with the Democrats. The independents will stay with the unaffiliated or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Their ideals are still the same, but
Yeah.
but even though in small town politics they may be very, very close,
Yeah.
there's still that separation
Yeah.
between the two. So what I'm getting at is, like, for example, when Todd Babbitt was first selectman, it was a Democratic board.
Meaning that it was
Right.
majority Democratic. You have to have
Two.
minority representation.
Right. No, there was
there has
two
to be
Democrats,
at
one
least
Republican. Right.
one member of the opposing party on the board.
Right.
So,
So like when they went to go ahead and add somebody to the Board of Finance because the Board of Finance couldn't, they were pretty much a hung jury. It was 3-3. This is
Yeah.
a few years ago.
yeah.
And then if they can't get somebody, they can't vote anybody in, it goes to the Board of Selectmen. So they voted somebody in, boom. That was the end of that.
Mhm.
And same thing with now. Right now, there's, Alex Greslak has stepped down because he's moved, and he's going to school, going to law school in Florida. So now there's 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats. So the assistant chair or the vice chair, who's Dan Webster, had a vote. And again, 3-3. So now it can go to the Board of Selectmen and they can vote somebody in. Now, what do you got? You got 2 Republicans and a Democrat.
Right.
All right. So there's a Republican candidate who's Rob Hamill.
Mhm.
And then the Democrat is Dr. Mark DePonte.
Yep.
It's probably going to be Rob Hamill because they're going to vote party lines.
I don't know if they're actually going to. Fill
I don't
that
think they're gonna
spot.
do it.
It's kind of just we haven't heard anything about it. The Board of Finance met, and they
Right.
there was no majority vote, and it hasn't been on the Board of Selectmen agenda. It just hasn't been discussed since that Board of Finance meeting. So I'm assuming that means that they're not going to fill it because we're so close to
I
elections.
hope
but
they would just let it go
Yeah,
until
That
then.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there now in the upcoming general election? Are we going to be also voting for members of the Board of Select or Finance? Board of
Yes.
Finance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
Board of
whole- so it's
Finance,
all
P&Z,
municipal,
yeah.
municipal offices.
Board of Ed, all of
Yeah.
that.
So there are no agendas up right now for the Board of Selectmen
Well,
going forward.
the-
8/22 was the last one. So-
Yeah,
That
the
was last
next
week.
one I think is scheduled for 9/12, but that's primary, so I don't know. I'm assuming it's going to be
Yeah.
rescheduled.
Yeah, they would be able to.
I
do
don't think
that
it
on
would
the
make
same
any
day.
sense really now to appoint somebody to the Board of Finance because it's not budget season. They go there, they sit, they listen to Eric, talk about the report, the financial report, and then that's kind of it. And then they all go home. So there's really not a lot of pressing business
Mhm.
Yeah,
on the Board of Finance right now. So
yeah. Like I said, I think a lot of people are just assuming that it's not being filled. We haven't heard anything. There's been no discussion
Right,
of it
right,
after
right.
that last Board of Finance meeting, so it hasn't been on any of the Board of Selectmen agendas or anything for discussion.
Well, let's say Rob Hamill gets put on, gets put on the board, right? And then we just have an election, and then let's say Mark DePonte beats him.
Mhm.
So then Rob Hamill's on for like a month.
It's possible for that position.
I'm
right,
just saying
yeah.
that for argument's sake.
Is that the time span between the time of the election and the time people are actually sworn in? I thought it was usually like the following week.
It is. It's for
Okay,
It's
Yeah,
a
it's-
smaller. It's
yeah.
a
So
September.
smaller
But they would- yeah,
window.
they
so it'd be a
would
month and a
only-
half.
Yeah, you don't get to be a lame duck for long
Yeah.
in the municipal elections.
Yeah. So I think they should just let it go.
It
That would make
seems
a
as
lot
though
of
that's
sense.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
Huh?
That seems that that's what they're doing. It just hasn't been, said.
Facebook user or Jamie O'Neill Eaton. Rob isn't running against DePonte. Val Grills is currently.
Oh,
Okay.
that's right. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
See, I'm all confused. I'm all caught up in the game. Let's see.
Which, depending on the outcome of the selectmen's race, that will change as well.
Right, because Val Grills is running for
Selectman.
select person. Yeah. So-
Right, along with Dana Bennett.
Right.
Because
Right.
like,
She's
go ahead. I'm
running mates. Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm. Yep. So and obviously you can't be on the board of selectmen and the board of finance. So,
Right,
you know,
right.
there would, you know, if it were to turn out that way, there would obviously need to be changes made there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what about Richard Matters? What happened to him?
No idea. He was nominated at the endorsement, the RTC endorsement meeting. Didn't get endorsed, and then Val became Dana's running mate for the primary after that. So obviously there was some sort of discussion, and you know, the Rich decided he didn't want to pursue a primary, or I don't know. There was some kind of strategy discussion, and Val decided to run with Dana.
So one of the things that's talked about a lot, especially in a small town, is husband and wife combos
Mm-hmm.
Lots of them.
on different boards. I don't think is there any way around that? I don't think so.
Not unless more people want to volunteer.
That's exactly it. Because you have like for example, you have like who's on the for a while, but Shannon Webster's not on the Board of Education anymore. But she was on the Board of Education, and Dan Webster, her husband, was the
Board of Finance.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, how about Stu Norman? Stu Norman is on the Board of Education, and Gail Rook Norman is on the Board of Finance. I don't think you can get around that because these are people that obviously know what they're doing,
Mhm.
and there's nobody else
Yeah.
to run. So that's why I think they talk about all the time that they need people to get involved.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
there's a
Okay.
lot of couples that are on a lot of different boards. You know, Rich is on a bunch of boards. I'm on,
Yep.
for the borough. You have the Pulaskis that are on, same as
Sure.
the Normans.
Yep.
Dana's first selectman, and her husband's on planning and zoning. I mean, it's all over.
Were you ever on a board? I was on the Ouija board.
No, I
I can
could
tell you
nev-
what's going to happen.
I bet you could, but no, as a reporter, and it's only in the last 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
Is that how long you've been retired
Yeah,
now?
I retired in June, at the end of June in 2019, just a few months shy of having been a reporter for 40 years.
Wow.
And
Amazing.
that would definitely be a conflict of interest. I couldn't be expected to. You're basically, a journalist is not expected to be engaged in politics.
Mhm.
Period.
Yep. No, that makes
So
sense.
you can do one or the other.
Mhm.
Got it. Do you have any
So-
aspirations of
No, zero aspirations for running for office. I'll let people who know.
It would be great to get more volunteers. I mean, I can say just from
Mhm.
a personal standpoint, having Rich and I on different boards, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of
yeah.
time. He's in meetings, I'm in meetings, he's got minutes to do. I'm over here getting an agenda ready. I mean, there's just, when there's both of you doing different, it's a lot, you're pulled
Yeah.
in different directions, and it's just very time consuming. So the more volunteers, the better, all around. To alleviate the perception of the conflicts of interest, and just to give families a little bit more time
and
back.
this is just not even your family life. This is just your public,
Right.
Right. Yeah.
town. Let me give you
Right.
my time
Yeah.
life. It's
Right.
just,
Yeah.
this is not like going out to dinner with the family or
Right.
just sitting around and chatting and stuff like that. So there is a lot of time because I know like I'll text you or I'll text Rich and y'all doing something.
Yeah. Always.
It's
We're always
you're
out
never
doing
just
something.
sitting around or whatever.
No.
so.
And if we don't have a meeting or something, chances are he's at the firehouse. Because he just can't get enough volunteering. He just can't get enough of it.
There is something about a fireman, especially a volunteer fireman, that they are just drawn to the fire department and then they stay there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I noticed that a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's often passed down in families.
Yep.
And,
All of our kids are in it right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have the Hamels. His boys are in it with him.
Yeah.
We have LePage, dad and son are in it. It is
Yeah.
a lot of families there.
It's like that in my hometown in PA too.
Mhm.
There's a lot of generational service.
Mhm.
I think it's the ethos of service that people raise their kids with.
Yep.
You want to give back to your town, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering who this nice lady is that is sitting and talking to Kathy and I, this is Janice Steinhagen, former reporter for many different publications, including one in Pennsylvania. That's where you started.
Yes, that's where I started. My hometown paper, the one I delivered for 10 years as a kid on my little bike, my little spider bike with the big handlebars and the banana seat.
Yeah.
And a
Nice.
basket in the front. Yeah. They hired me out of college and I worked there for not quite 2 years until I got married and moved up here, and worked for a number of newspapers. The last one I worked for was the Current Community, which was a weekly put out by the Hartford Current, the oldest continuously published newspaper in America.
Oh.
And so it was good. I spent a lot of time. I understand where you're coming from as a public servant, as an elected official, or people who serve on these boards, because my poor husband got to, when I came home, I would unload. Oh, you wouldn't believe what happened at that last Board of Finance meeting. Oh my gosh.
Eric was on Board of Finance?
No, I would come home and I would just tell him,
Everything. All the
that was
drama.
the drama. And it just because it's, well, as we all know, a small town has plenty of drama.
Oh, yes.
So, and that's the only kind of town I covered was small towns.
No.
I almost think the smaller the town, the bigger the drama.
Oh, well, Canterbury. I for 7 years, I was the Canterbury correspondent for the Willimantic Chronicle. And that was interesting because I had, no skin in that game.
Right.
I didn't live in Canterbury, but it was interesting being on the outside looking in and watching the machinations of the Board of Selectmen and the school board.
Ooh, that's a
And,
25-cent word right
yeah,
there. Machination.
yeah, I'm gonna have to use that.
Machinations, yeah. So yeah, it was really interesting. And what I found really interesting was there were always a couple of gadflies, which are the, people who are not on any board, but they come and they show up to every single meeting and they know everything that's going on. I don't know. I most of
Or
them,
they think they do.
a lot of them, the one guy I'm thinking of in particular in Canterbury, he was retired.
So we had nothing else to do.
So instead of watching MTV,
Right.
what 60-something-year-old guy's going to sit there watch MTV? That was the thing back then.
VH1.
He just went to the meetings and sat through the meetings, and occasionally he'd stand up and he'd give his 2 cents. And he knew. I mean, the man had it all in his head. And I spent many, post meeting, stood outside under the lamppost with him for like 10-15 minutes, and he would tell me the backstory, which the stuff that I would not have known just from sitting through the meeting. He would say,
Right.
well, yeah, so and so and such, and there's long-standing animosities and grudges and political infight. It's just
All
it's
of
the same
that's-
everywhere.
I find that so aggravating. All that like historical rivalries and all that, like, well, back in 2007 when so and so said this and this happened, and
Right.
who cares?
Well,
Stop.
yeah. People
Move
take
on.
things a personal personality clashes and issues can sometimes trail into the political arena in a big way.
Definitely.
Scott Fire says, I love my time on the Board of Education. Unfortunately, politics get injected into things that they have no business being injected into. And that's very true. And it made me not want to continue volunteer my time elsewhere. I know he loved the Board of Education.
Yeah, we lost a good volunteer with Scott. He was put in his time. He loved doing it.
Scott, what a great day today is to come and get a tumbler. That's a difference. Question for you, Janice.
Yep.
So, by the way, Janice is the moderator tonight.
Right. I'm going to be moderating
for the debate.
Mhm.
Right. Were you in Canterbury or reporting in Canterbury for the toilet bowl?
What?
I don't know. Laughing emoji. This is from Victoria.
The toilet bowl.
Maybe that's a reference to a newspaper. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Now I want to know the story.
Explain.
Yeah.
I guess would be
Explain.
my response to that.
Yeah, I have no idea what
Yeah,
that is.
yeah. I will tell you that in all my years of working in southeastern Connecticut, I never worked for either the Day or the Bulletin. In fact, when I was in Canterbury, I was just telling somebody about this yesterday. When I covered Canterbury, and I covered Canterbury for the better part of 7 years as a daily, a reporter for a daily.
Right.
This was back pre-internet. And I would type up my stories on my electronic typewriter, and I would tape the papers to my front door. And a guy who lived in Voluntown and worked in Willimantic for the Chronicle would pick up the papers and drive them.
Oh my god.
That was how I sent my stories in for the longest time.
Wow.
But be that as it may, I worked in Canterbury for about 7 years, and I saw probably at least half a dozen different reporters go through that beat from the Bulletin.
Mm.
They would come, there'd be new graduates out of journalism school, and they would be sent to Canterbury for 6 months and have no idea.
Punishment or what?
No, it was, well,
It's their
prove
form
yourself.
of hazing.
Yeah, exactly. Because Canterbury was very contentious at that time.
It still is.
Is it?
I'm sure it is.
When we lived in
I don't know
Canterbury,
anything
sure
about
it
if you
is.
weren't a farmer, they wanted you the hell out of there.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
These are the people. These are the people who, almost 200 years ago, tried to set fire to Prudence Crandall's school. All right.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah, no.
yeah.
We ran into some.
They're
Interesting.
There's
ancestors.
some
Okay.
lovely people in
Oh, yeah,
Canterbury.
yeah,
There
yeah.
really are, and some beautiful landscapes and everything. But there are some people you can't get there from here.
Yeah,
You know,
and memories are long, and grudges are kept for a long time. But
Mm.
yeah, the Norwich Bulletin at that time was just sending their new reporters out there to prove themselves, and then
Mm.
6 months later they'd get kicked upstairs to a better quote
Mm.
unquote beat, and somebody new would come in, and they would have to start from scratch again, and they had
Oh.
no idea of the backstory and what led to XYZ event happening, and so
Mm.
it was kind of humorous, but yeah,
Yeah.
there was just a lot of turnover.
Apparently, the toilet bowl. It was one of the selectmen running a campaign, and they had a flute at the town hall with the toilet bowl on it. I have no idea what she's talking about.
Flute?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a float at the town hall
Oh, a float.
with a
With a
toilet bowl on it.
Oh.
That's not ringing a bell.
Okay.
That is not ringing a bell.
Rich
That
says-
may have been before my time or after my time.
Could be. Rich says the day is a useless rag. Totally one-sided. Although Rich says Scott says he agrees, but he does like the sports articles.
Well, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go past judgment on.
No.
I
And,
could,
you know,
but I won't.
And all of these comments are not necessarily those. The beliefs or whatever of SNSN
Right.
whatsoever. So,
Yeah.
but everybody has their own way of looking at things.
Yeah.
I will say that they do have some good sports articles on the London Day.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it there.
So does SNSN.
Yeah, we do.
There you
And
go.
the Norwich Bulletin has nothing.
Well,
They don't have anything anymore. They don't have any writers.
I know.
They
I
have
know.
nothing.
And now that John Shishmania is gone, they don't have a photographer.
No pictures either.
Oh my gosh, he was an institution. I met him decades
Yeah.
ago when I worked for the Rose City Sentinel, which had a brief shining moment back in the very early '80s. Late '80s.
They realize what a power couple John and his wife Angela are.
Oh, really?
Well, see, John was a photographer
Yeah.
for the
And
bulletin,
an excellent one, I might add.
and his wife was the co-host on WTIC.
Oh, really? I didn't know
doing
that.
news. Angela Dias Blue.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Small world.
Yeah,
Everyone's
and she
connected.
retired as well. I mean,
Yeah.
they
yeah.
were quite the
Yeah.
power couple.
He was just the genuinely nicest person.
He is very
honest
nice.
to goodness. He was just a sweetheart.
He would be
Even if we
across-
did have to elbow each other to get the good spots to get pictures.
would
My
be-
little camera, and he's got his huge,
Yeah.
huge telephoto thing, high tech.
Shish would be on the other side of a football, or a basketball bleachers, and he would like creep and take pictures of us and then text them to me.
Oh,
He's a really nice guy.
he was.
Always had a smile on his face. He
He
still does.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'm sure it's even bigger now that he's retired.
he's retired.
Yeah.
He doesn't take pictures now. He draws them.
Really?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
When you're retired, what do? You draw stuff.
yeah. Prune roses. I don't know.
God, can somebody come prune my tomato bushes? My God, I can't get nothing out of those things this year.
Yeah, it's been a rough year for tomatoes with me too.
You too. Okay, so all right, I don't feel so bad. We got more cucumbers, I think, than tomatoes.
Ah,
I have no problem picking them out of the bins when I go to the store.
yeah.
Perfectly, no issues
Campbell's-
whatsoever.
Campbell's- Oh, and actually,
Just
Lakeview
saying.
Farms. Yeah, we're just milking the farm stands is what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're going to the farm stands
There's-
and picking up
Yeah,
stuff.
it is rough this year. I don't know
Plenty
why.
of them.
I have no idea. And I took a page out of your book. I started growing stuff in tires.
Yeah, I never grew anything in tires, but I did grow things in 5-gallon.
Cat litter. I did that too.
Yeah, mhm.
I did that too.
I got that tip from a workshop I went to in Sprague that I was covering for the paper, and they were talking about gardening in a
Yeah.
5-gallon bucket. And it's like, what?
Put a tomato plant in it, and
Yeah, it's just about right, And you can even I even grew carrots in them one year.
really,
It's like
I did
just
radishes last year in 'em.
It
Yeah.
blew my mind. But the thing is, the wonderful thing is, you can put exactly what you want in there. Your subsoil status makes no difference as long as you've got a little drainage in there. You can put, fill it with compost, and
you know what I can't get this year
what?
at all? Summer squash.
Oh, really?
Can't get any.
You got to go to Campbell's and
No,
the
grow
farmers
'em, grow
markets.
'em. I'm
I
talking about
know,
growing 'em,
I know,
but-
but that's you. Other people.
I never had a problem with them. Those before. Those I got one zucchini.
Huh? Was it? Are the plants failing, or are they just not producing?
A little bit of both.
Ah.
A little bit of both.
Might be squash bugs. I was always battling the squash bugs with the summer squash.
Again, no problem picking them out of the bins.
So what do you what do you you want to go over the debate for tonight?
Yeah, I can.
So
give
Janice
you
is the moderator, and
outline
she's
of
going to talk
the-
about the outline, and
yeah.
here it is.
Yeah. So here's how this is going to work. We're going to introduce the candidates, and each candidate will give an opening statement that they may or may not have prepared ahead of time. It's their choice, up to 5 minutes long, and I've encouraged them to put together a brief outline of their background and in particular what they believe qualifies them to run for this position. If they have time, they could also begin to address some of their priorities, what they would do, what they would focus on as an elected first selectman. And then we're going to have the questions. I will pose a question. Candidate A will respond, and they'll have 3 minutes to do that. Candidate B will respond and have 3 minutes to do that. And then if either candidate wishes to rebut their opponent, they will have 1 minute to do that. So the responses to each question should be no more than 8 minutes long altogether between the two candidates.
Right.
And we will be taking turns going first. And I have an even number of questions. So we're trying to be as even-handed about this as possible to give people a chance to, be in that desirable or maybe undesirable position of answering first. And the rebuttal, the 1 minute rebuttal, is really in kind of the closest we can get in a format like this to having something like a dialogue. So that if one person poses a point that the other person wishes to contest or to, say something, remark upon, they can do that. And then there will be a closing statement from each of the candidates, and that's going to be like 3 minutes, and at which point they can either sum up their reasons for running and what they plan to do, or they might respond. They might react to something that was said earlier in the debate. It's their choice. They can work from a prepared script or not, as they wish. And so that's that's how it's going to go.
It's pretty simple,
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
straightforward.
We have told the candidates that they are welcome to bring some paper materials if they wish, if they have a folder, if they want to, bring a prepared statement. But they're not going to have access to electronics during the debate. No Googling. Also, no Encyclopedia Britannica. So
It'd be hard to fit one of those in a folder.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And this isn't my first rodeo, as they say. I've done this before on a local level. We've hosted, Mike, you've hosted debates for candidates for First Selectman and also candidates for state rep.
Yep.
And what has impressed me is that even in really turbulent political climates, people have been remarkably and commendably respectful and decorous.
As
and
it
I,
should.
And
Should
I
be that way.
fully expect that will happen here. I mean, none of the questions, all of the questions that I've prepared are aimed at public policy.
Let me just interrupt you
issues for
right there
Sure.
quickly. Is that nobody knows the questions except for Janice.
Right.
Janice has complete autonomy on this. The only people that are going to be in here, the two candidates, Janice, myself, and Megan, who will be the timekeeper, who is completely unaffiliated. Okay. The other thing, I am a registered Republican, but I'm off camera and going to be doing nothing but producing. Janice is not a member of the Republican Party, so
correct.
None of us have any skin in the game. So the two people, the moderator and the timekeeper, have no skin, zero.
Right.
In this. So anyway, I just wanted to make that known.
Right.
That you're the only one. The candidates do not know the questions.
Right.
I don't know the questions.
Right.
Nobody does. So anyway, okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
not even Eric.
Really? Your husband doesn't even know?
No.
42 years and you can't even get the questions. Jeez.
Yeah. Well,
You're tough.
hold it close to the chest here. So.
Did you get questions from? I know you had asked on Facebook. I'd encourage people to send questions.
Yes, I got responses on Facebook. I got some personal messages from people, and some of them were questions that were already on my list. The top question that I'm going to ask, and I'll give you a sneak preview. It's about economic development. That seemed to be top of mind for just about everybody. Virtually anybody who contacted me. The other thing is I went to the senior center. They had a lovely little ceremony for Mama Betty last week. They planted a tree in her honor. The grand dame of the grand poobah of the senior center for many years, who passed away a couple years ago at the age of 106. God love her. And sat down with people at the little, light refreshments afterwards and said, so what would you like to ask the candidates for First Selectman? So I got an earful, as you can imagine.
Good.
And a lot of that input, much of that input has been folded into the questions that I posed. But when I was composing the questions, I was really focused on the fact that I don't know who's going to answer them first. And so none of it can really be personality based, or what you did as incumbent, for example, or whatever. So they're general questions. That's the intent. And
we're going to flip a coin.
We are going to flip a coin to see who goes first, and then from there we're going to keep taking turns going forward. So we're doing the darndest we can to keep it as even-handed as possible, to keep it focused on the issues. I, as I said, I have great confidence that both candidates will do that. Will maintain a focus on the issues facing the town rather than on personality or that kind of thing.
There's a comment here from Daryl. From the Healthy Computer.
Daryl. Hi, Daryl. My guy, my computer guru.
Next to the dog groomer.
Next to the dog groomer, hair of the dog on School Street. He says, there should be a rule about gaslighting or framing an answer to avoid the question. So many times there is an important question asked and politicians never give a clear answer.
That is so frustrating.
Well, I can't control what comes out of the mouths of the candidates. All right. I draw the line at personal attack. that will stop things if that happens. I don't anticipate that happening. These are grown
Shouldn't.
people. These are grown people. They should, we can
Mhm.
all be adults. But I think listeners, if someone evades a question in that manner, I think it will be obvious to listeners. I mean,
Yeah, they can figure that out.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think.
Or they spend 20 minutes thanking you for doing the debate and thank you. You know how that happens.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for this question. It's a wonderful question.
Yeah. What
And,
a
You're
great
wasting
time.
time.
That's
Wonderful time it is to be a
That's
Griswoldian.
that's a time waster, so that they
Yeah.
don't have to answer.
That's
the
a great
question.
question. That's always been a bugaboo of mine. That's a great question.
Mhm.
You don't need to stroke my ego. Just answer
Answer it.
the
Yeah.
question. So yeah.
We're not sitting here with paddles going, point,
Yeah.
point.
10. Yeah. And remember,
And the East
I
German
can't
judge will
vote
be here, and they're the toughest.
and remember, I can't vote for either of you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
True.
Yeah,
True.
stroking my ego does no good whatsoever. So yeah, it's a good way to open the discussion about issues regarding the town, and get a sense of where people stand on things. I can't say that my list of questions is exhaustive. There are only 10 of them, but
we might not even get to all of them. That's going to be up to you.
We'll see. I mean, what may happen is that people may address an upcoming question in their answer to a previous one, and I may just scratch that one. But
Sure.
But the idea is to give voters a sense of where people stand, what their goals are, what they hope to do if they win the office, which is not something you would, necessarily get from a newspaper article or, just looking at the ballot. You want to make an informed choice.
Yep.
That's the whole idea, and we're hoping to inform people to assist them in making that choice. So that's the goal.
Very
there.
good. Very, very good. So are you ready for tonight?
Yeah.
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 It's not your first rodeo. I mean,
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
done this
It's
before.
and I have to say, I kind of enjoy it. I have not been, my finger has not been on the pulse of town politics since I retired. I've
Right.
had other fish to fry, but
You've been missing out.
I'm sure I have. But I'm always, I do enjoy the opportunity to provide information for people that's going to help them make a decision that makes a big difference in their
Mhm.
life. That's always been my goal as a reporter.
Right.
And we're talking, factual information that it's not opinion based, or we're trying to give people an even-handed look at an issue. That's always been my goal. And so I have to say, I kind of enjoy the opportunity to, make an effort to do something like that again.
Well, it is debate season,
Yes, it
and
is.
there will be others.
There will be
Janice.
I don't like that spark in your eye there, Mike.
I've put it out there for 2 others. Whether they will take place or not, I don't know.
Okay.
But what I put it out there yesterday to Tom Sinkowitz, who's the Board of Finance Director in Plainfield.
Oh.
He's the Democratic candidate going up against Kevin Cunningham. I have not asked Kevin Cunningham yet, but I did ask Tom if he would be willing to debate.
And this is for the office of
First Selectman in
Selectman
Plainfield.
Okay.
In Lisbon, Tom Sparkman. Well, he'll just be debating himself.
So I figured,
So
I was like, there's
we'll just have
nobody
Tom
going-
on, so.
Yeah, he's kind of installed there with somebody with Phillips head screws, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he's not going there. And is Voluntown still leaving the town? I don't even
Yes.
know. We hear
Come
nothing about
on,
Voluntown anymore.
Come on, Mike. Come on.
Tracy Hansen doesn't tell me anything. She doesn't send it.
I mean,
I got kicked out of Voluntown Now or whatever the crap that
everybody
page
does.
is.
Dwelling in
Everybody-
Voluntown.
Dwelling in
Yeah,
Voluntown. Yeah,
dwelling
yeah.
in
Well, I've been
Voluntown.
dwelled out. So,
It's funny. I live
because I
like
didn't like it.
I
Like the news.
I
Oh, wow.
live I live about 3 doors over from the Voluntown line. So and so we've always kind of straddled that line. In fact, for a long time, when we first moved in there, our mailing address was Voluntown.
And I like Tracy. She's a nice lady. I don't know what happened.
Well, yeah.
I have no idea.
Maybe she don't like you.
That's fine. Doesn't matter. I don't sit here.
I'm kidding. I have no idea who she
I'm
is.
not judging. I'm not judging you.
I have no
I'm
idea who
judging.
she is. I don't keep up with volunteers.
She I do remember doing the
She'd been
debate
come-
that
she'd come in.
she ran against Kevin Skulchuk for state rep.
Right.
And
it just wasn't her time yet.
Yeah. And I will have to say, like I mentioned, that was a pretty politically charged time in history. And
Before COVID.
right. And those two people who had very, very different opinions were extremely respectful. It was a wonderful debate. I really felt good at the end of that. I felt like, okay, voters, now you see where they stand.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. And they were very cordial to each other. And
Good.
that's what I expect
That's the way it should
tonight.
be.
So yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It'll
it will
definitely be
It will
interesting. And thank you, Janice, for taking the time
Okay.
to actually go ahead and being a part of this.
Well, thanks
So
for the
that's
invitation. I
really,
appreciate
really
I
cool.
feel honored to, be given, because I do feel like it's a responsibility, and I have done some legwork. So it's,
Yes, ma'am, you have. Yes, you
trying
have.
to pose probing questions that really get at what people hope to do as First Selectman.
So not only that, but one of the things that I do want to mention too, I don't think it's really going to make any difference to anybody, neither here nor there. We did not take a sponsor for this debate.
Interesting. Okay.
We did not. So this is totally everybody here, including yourself, the candidates, Megan doing timekeeping,
Mm-hmm.
and the facilities here are complete gratis, and it's all for the residents to try to go ahead and get as much information as possible.
A public service, one might
Huh?
say.
Yeah.
A public service.
Right.
Yep. Exactly.
So
one of the things that we would hope that people would go ahead and do is support what we do here at SNSN. And what I mean by that is we are, like, one of the things that we have, which I think are really, really cool, is if you take a look at our screen right now, and you have one, you bought one.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
one. Yep.
So are these cool tumblers right here.
Ah.
This is it says Grizzle Wolverines.
ooh,
Right? Look at that. Ooh, ah.
that is
Um,
really slick.
Mhm.
It I want to tell people, because I'm getting a lot of pushback on this. It actually holds liquid.
Push back on what?
They say that they don't work.
Doesn't work. What do you mean? It's a cup.
I
It
know.
holds water.
I don't know. I don't understand
It
it,
holds
either.
whatever you
But it
want.
works. And the biggest.
It works.
You know what else it does? I think I told you. You can hear the ocean.
Oh. Well, but only after you use the ear cleaner that comes with it. It has,
Uh,
I can hear it.
it has an ear
I
cleaner.
can hear it right
Yeah.
now.
And then you can hear the ocean.
Yeah.
I can hear it. So anyway, there's you can
And
see it up. Oh,
And it has the football schedule on it. Is that
Yes.
what it has
It
there?
has
I
the-
saw that, and I
it
was trying
does.
to read it sideways.
Yep.
so not only that, but the other benefit to this cup right here is that. Oh, by the way, we don't have just the football one.
Oh, you have soccer now
Oh.
too, right?
We have boys soccer, we have girls soccer, and we have girls volleyball tumblers.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So we have tumblers for all of them.
Ooh.
Cool.
And the Booster Club has one-upped everything and said, if you go ahead and you purchase one of these tumblers, because they want to see them,
yeah, yeah. Take him to the game, mom and dad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can put, well, anyway,
Yeah.
$1 coffee or hot cocoa refills.
Ooh. Ah.
That's awesome.
That's even
there we
better
go.
than Dunkin's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see? So if you're going to a game, I'm trying to get them to see if they get soup.
Soup.
Soup is good food.
Century.
I don't know, but really, no. If you get one of these right here, you order it on our website. You can go ahead and scan the code. That's the first thing. Or if you're on your device and screenshot it, or you just go to snsnonline.com/shop. And you'll see
Okay.
all of the tumblers there. And if
The
you don't like
mind
those, then
wheels.
there's an Aquanaut tumbler right there that you can get. We got a whole bunch of.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you seen the
Oh,
Aquanaut
yeah,
tumbler?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty cool.
It is cool.
So yeah,
Like an
so
old hairspray bottle.
yeah, so a couple of people have ordered them this morning, so we appreciate that.
Yeah.
And but they're really, really cool. They're stainless steel. Ow.
And they
Okay.
work. I have one. I bought one. I've used it.
So it
It's
does.
a cup and
it
it
holds
holds
liquid.
liquid.
Excellent.
The straw allows you to get the liquid from the cup to your mouth. It works
Yeah.
great.
What a
The
concept.
ear
A little bit of
cleaner.
suction and it comes up. Yeah, then
Yeah.
it comes. The straw cleaner, or it works as a back scratcher.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
whatever you
so-
want to use it for.
I have to
It's a
say,
multifunction tool.
yesterday I took my mother-in-law who's 91 and who uses one of those rolling walkers. I was asking
Yeah.
about the use of the athletic field, the new athletic field. Would it be
Oh.
open to the public? So we did find that if you take the driveway that goes down towards the football practice field, yes, there is this lovely little loop and you can park there. And so we went and she took her little rolling walker and we walked down along the woods, between the woods and the athletic field. We
Yeah.
watched the kids working out.
Yeah.
You know, we were being passed by these young
course.
Yeah.
cross country people who were running their laps, and we were watching the soccer team out there doing their warm ups, and it was really delightful.
Yeah, it is.
Really beautiful facility. I mean, it's just
Mhm. They did
a
fantastic job on
huge
it.
upgrade from what was there before.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it is absolutely beautiful. You have anything else? Any? Because the next time we will see you,
I'll be
is-
wearing my suit,
You'll
my
be wearing-
powers.
you got it. And you'll be hosting the debate tonight.
Yeah.
Kathy, anything you want to add or anything?
No,
No?
I just have to get home. I have a meeting.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I have
Well,
work.
I can, if you have the time, I can recap the deal about registering to vote for this
Right now?
election. Yeah.
Go for it.
So the Republican primary for Griswold First Selectman will take place Tuesday, September 12th. Please note that both districts will vote at Griswold Town Hall on Main Street in Jewett City. Polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Curbside voting will be available. Today, August 29th, from noon to 2 p.m., they will be holding a primary enrollment session at the registrar's office on the second floor of Town Hall for the purpose of registering and or enrolling electors entitled to vote in the primary. You can get absentee ballots at town clerk's office during regular hours, which are Monday through Wednesday, 8:30 to 4:30. Thursday 8:30 to 6:30 and Friday 8:30 to 1:30. You need an ID to receive an absentee ballot. You can also apply for an absentee ballot online at www.griswold-ct.org. Completed absentee ballots can be dropped off at Town Hall in the designated secure drop box outside of the front door. Only registered Republicans can vote in this primary. Unaffiliated voters may still register as Republicans prior to the primary and be eligible to vote, but you can't switch from Democrat or Independent to Republican without a 90-day waiting period, which we don't have now. The general election, in which the final Republican candidate determined in this primary and the Democratic candidate put forth by their party, will run for the title of First Selectman. That happens Tuesday, November 7th.
All right. Janice, we will see you tonight.
All right. With bells on.
One other thing, just about these darn cups. Make sure when you do order, because we did have, make sure you click on local pickup. That way it doesn't charge you shipping.
Okay.
I mean, I just give you the money back, you know. I mean, if you do, but still just pick local.
And so
pickup.
people can pick them up here at your office? Is that how it works?
Yeah, they'll be down at the reception area, and Megan will hand them over.
Okay.
Valerie Pudva just says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Till 4 p.m. What are we talking
4
about?
p.m. That's okay. That's when town hall closes. My mistake. My mistake. Thank you, Val, for correcting that. I
See,
will-
you know, just when you
correct
think
that.
nobody's listening, everybody's listening.
And a good thing too. Monday through Wednesday.
Friday is 1
4
p.m., she says.
1 p.m. Okay. All right. Duly
Thanks,
noted, Val. Thanks for fixing that for me.
All right, Kathy, thank you very much for coming on in, as always, on Mike and a Wassilick with Paul Lash. No Paul Lash
No
today,
Paul
but,
Lash today.
No Paul Lash.
but there will be Paul Lash tomorrow.
Okay.
So tonight it'll be all about the candidates.
Yeah.
Wayne Malin and Dana Bennett, 7 o'clock tonight on SNSN, along with Janice Steinhagen as your moderator. Folks, if you want to know what's going on in the town of Griswold or what's important to these candidates, we certainly implore you to watch, the debate tonight. And even if you don't get a chance to watch it live, it will be available for you to watch it at another time. One extra point. The comment section will be open. However, the candidates will not see any of your comments.
Nor will I.
And nor will Janice, nor will they be spoken to. So if you want to go ahead and comment, you can, but it's really going to be preaching to the choir because no one is going to see it,
Right.
Or except another person. So if you guys want to get into a crap show with somebody else in the chat room, that's up to you. It's not going to affect the debate whatsoever because some people, I think, like to go ahead and put fuel on the fire to think that they're going to disrupt stuff. It's
No.
not going to happen.
I've got my fire extinguisher.
That's right. It's not even going to be anything effective. So, Kathy, thank you. Janice, we'll see you tonight. And tonight, 7 o'clock, right here.